Reading from The Gun Rights War by Neal Knox. This is section 3. Section called Lessons from Russia, or Lesson from Russia, page 136, dated August 21, 1991. The KGB-backed military coup in Russia seems to be unraveling. Praise be, and the press is crediting it to the will of the people. That's simply not true. As CNN correctly reported the first day, there could be no meaningful resistance from the people because they have been disarmed. Despite the courage of Boris Yeltsin and thousands of individual Russians with rocks, bottles of gasoline, and a handful of stolen army guns, the coup failed because of the unwillingness of the army to open fire on their own people. President Yeltsin acknowledged as much by thanking the Russian army commander who was ordered to storm the government building and capture Yeltsin, but who disobeyed orders. The Chinese students at Tiananmen Square showed equal courage, but they had only about a dozen AK-47s, which were destroyed immediately before the army rolled in and over them. A disarmed people could stop either coup only by convincing the army to oppose it. If the Russian soldiers had been from a remote region, as were the Chinese troops at Tiananmen Square, and if their leadership had been as ruthless as we have seen in a replay of the China horror, the initial edict of the communist hardliners demanded 1. Immediate re-registration in newspapers, for registration gives control, and 2. Immediate surrender of already registered personal firearms. The U.S. Founding Fathers, too familiar with such edicts, sought to protect the nation with the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. What happened in the Soviet Union and what has happened for centuries in Russia and much of the rest of the world again illustrates their wisdom. But those who venerate the First Amendment denigrate the Second. Politicians ignore it and the courts avert their eyes. What the Committee of Eight ordered in the USSR is precisely what Major David Dinkins has ordered in New York City. He and the majority of the city press have bullied the city council into passing a law demanding the immediate surrender of most of the city's registered semi-automatic firearms. The stated reason for the new New York law, is the control of crime. But when a minority city councilman demanded to know how many registered so-called assault weapons had been used in crime, Police Commissioner Lee Brown replied, none. Since crime isn't the reason, I don't know why Major Dinkins is determined to outlaw semi-autos, or why Governor Florio pushed through a so-called assault weapons ban in New Jersey, or why Governor George that's a good, I have no idea what that is. Duke Magen something signed one in California. Or why the U.S. Congress is trying to ban and register military-style firearms. But I know why the Soviet communists did it. They were afraid of the people. So why are the American politicians doing the same thing as the KGB and the communist hardliners were doing? What do they have in mind for us that would make them fear the people? It is far from impossible that this nation might someday need its guns for the very reason contemplated by the Founding Fathers, as an insurance policy for freedom. The notion of taking arms against our government is repugnant, but none of us would cancel our homeowners policy just because we don't want our house to burn. Thank you for supporting our projects. If you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, check out our Patreon channel.
The guys and gals at gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thank you for watching gunwebsites.com.